time Sixers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
What's going on, everyone? This is UK 76ers. My name is Ben Glasspool, and last night the Philadelphia 76ers completed the home sweep over the Boston Celtics, winning 122 points to 110. Now, firstly, I do just want to quickly apologise for this video coming a bit later than normal. I had to spend today seeing someone rather important, so duty calls and all that. So this is just what's going to happen on occasion. But I'll be back again tomorrow for the Pistons game, all bright and early, ready to get the video out to you as soon as I possibly can. In addition to that, you'll probably notice, those who are perceptive amongst you guys, this is the same jumper as I was wearing for the last video in that last Celtics win. I have washed it since, so don't think of me too badly. But anyway, let's just dive straight into this. So yesterday was fantastic from a personal point of view, and indeed from the Sixers' point of view. From my perspective and from this channel's perspective, I was lucky enough to work with the guys at the fifth quarter on Twitter, and they let me use their page to live stream, live tweet even during the game. Exposing myself a bit more to more Sixer fans, but I had a great time. So shout out to them. They're really great guys. If for whatever reason you don't follow them already, I mean, I'll be shocked if there are Sixer fans watching this that don't follow them already. But if you don't, for whatever reason, get on it right now. They're fantastic guys, and I will be going back on their page for the Sacramento Kings game, which I'm looking forward to already. But yeah, so thanks very much to the fifth quarter. You guys are great. And of course, the Sixers won against the Celtics, and a win against the Celtics is always good. So I alluded to this before. When we play a team so soon after playing them, a couple of days before, it's almost a bit like a playoffs in that adjustments need to be made. Little tinkerings will be made from both teams to ensure that the same issues and the same disadvantages that lost them the game or won them, or the advantages that won them the game, don't happen again, because these adjustments will be made. So perhaps I thought, maybe Joel Embiid, they might find a way to stop Joel Embiid, or they might find a way to be a bit more solid defensively, or really exploit that pick and roll defense that we've got, which I have pointed out a lot in the past, that this is something that needs to be worked on. No, the Celtics, they just didn't have an answer for Joel Embiid, and that is a testament to Joel Embiid. He just completely destroyed Tristan Thompson. He destroyed Daniel Tice, and he destroyed Grant Williams. I don't know why. Perhaps I had a bit of doubt, but I don't know why I doubted it. It was easy for Joel. He was getting his usual points. He finished on 38, 11, and 3, 11 of 15 from the field, 2 out of 2 from 3, and 14 out of 15 from the free throw line. He was immense. And he could have got more if, the refs were a bit better. And, this is going to happen in every game. The refs are always going to be annoying, and teams will always claim, and fans will always claim that the refs lost in the game or the refs won the other team in the game. Thankfully, the refs, they weren't great, but we still won the game regardless. But what I will say about this is that after the last game, Marcus Smart obviously comes out and has a go at Embiid for flopping, which of course is hugely ironic, because Marcus Smart is one of the best at the game for flopping. And it didn't take long for this game to get going until he started doing it again. It's a bit embarrassing. I'm not sure how he can come out and say these things when he goes and does this every game. Look, it's okay to flop. It's just part of the game. But just own it. Know what you are doing. Just be like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what you got to do as a basketball player. Don't try and act as if you're holier than thou and above everyone else, but when you do exactly the same thing. So Marcus Smart, get in the bin. But anyway, he said that, and I'm sure this put the referees on alert. They were sort of like, oh, we don't want to be seen to promote flopping and let Embiid get his way. So I do think a lot of the fouls that he would get normally, he didn't get, because the refs were trying to compensate. And I mean, you shouldn't be trying to do that if you've got a ref as you were, and consistency is key. And Marcus Smart only claimed Embiid flop because Marcus Smart and the Celtics didn't win. Look, does Embiid flop a bit? Kind of, but he also gets hacked to pieces by 2 or 3 people, even all at the same time. These fouls are going to come if you can't guard him properly, and the Celtics can't guard him properly. So I'm not too sure what their problem is. But anyway, not too fast, because we won the game at the end of the day. But that was a big grievance I had, and it really annoyed me, because it's just pathetic. And look, I don't like flopping, but the thing is, it's going to be part of the game. It's part of the game, and it's going to stick around. If the NBA don't allow teams to get physical, then flopping is a natural consequence of what comes out of that. But anyway, Embiid was immense. We're swiftly running out of word to the guy. MVP is all I can say. MVP'd, the way you want to call it. He's just on another level this season. This is a Joel Embiid we have never seen before, and long may it continue. He looks fitter, he looks stronger, he looks more homed in, he looks more focused. That sometimes you look at his face and you just like, I don't want to be the guy that has to try and guard this guy. He means business, game in, game out, every single play. And I'm not too sure if there's many people in this league that can stop him. One of them who potentially could do that, Anthony Davis, comes to the Wells Fargo Center very soon with the Los Angeles Lakers, and that is something I'm very looking forward to seeing. But anyway, of course, Embiid won us a game in his own right, but this was a team effort, as it so often is. But we had Seth Curry back, and he's just so fantastic, isn't he? 15 points, looked as if he hadn't been out of the team for almost a week now. 3 out of 5 from the field. Well, from 3 points, sorry, 60%, keeping up that ridiculous clip. Everything he shoots just seems to drop, and he is just a fantastic piece in this team. In terms of fit, he's just perfect. You couldn't find a better fit in the NBA for a player like Seth Curry. I can't think of anywhere where he would fit in better for himself personally and for the Sixers. This is just a match made in heaven, and we've got him on a fantastic contract, and I can't speak highly enough of the guy. Danny Green didn't have a best game. 5 points, only got 1 3 out of 6 attempts. Not his best game, but that's Danny Green. Sometimes it drops, sometimes it doesn't, and he definitely seems to be a bit of an all or nothing player when it comes to a 3-point shot. But he has been good overall. Defensively wasn't brilliant. They put him against the likes of Jaylen Brown. Obviously, lateral quickness is very much required to stop players like him. Danny Green doesn't quite have that anymore. He's getting on a bit. He's still solid defensively, but when he's going against a guy who's a bit more athletic, a bit quicker than him, then he's going to struggle. And this is why we brought Matisse Thybulle in. And when Matisse Thybulle came in, oh boy, did the Celtics really know about it. Kemba Walker has nightmares about Matisse Thybulle. And this has started since Matisse's debut at the start of last season with that great chase down block on Kemba. The guy has Kemba's number, seemingly. Look, Kemba Walker's so good that he'll always get his points. But the one, the block I'm referring to, Kemba seemingly crosses Matisse up, and 99.9% of players in the NBA, that crosses them up, they hit the deck, they're on the floor, Kemba gets a wide open 3. Matisse stumbles, somehow recovers, somehow gets the clean block, goes at the other end and, jams it in for 2. It's just, I don't know how he does it. He's incredibly, he's got such a nous for things. And, we always talk about, his defensive capabilities is always, well known, and it's always seen in all the games. It's always about can he do it on the offensive end? And tonight he brought it. And often, we look at his 3-point shot, but he was going to the rim. He was one from 3 for 3. That's not too bad, I guess. He ended up with 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks. But one of those 9 points, obviously, the majority of them would have come from inside that 3-point line at the rim, and he was finishing brilliantly. And if the 3 points can't drop, at the very least, at least he's got a game where he can drive and he can finish. And look, it's not the most consistent game we've seen, because sometimes it will drop and sometimes it won't, and he's very streaky in that sense. But if we can see more of this, and we could, he'll be a crucial part of this rotation. Matisse is just the last few games. People have gotten on his back, and now that Furkan's gone back into the rotation, people are like, I'm not that high on Furkan Korkmaz. Like, I loved his dunk, and when he does stuff good for the team, of course, I have no agenda. If he does stuff good for the team, he does stuff good for the team. But Furkan Korkmaz, whose threes are similar to what I said with Green beforehand, but at least Green is a bit of an adult in the room and he's a bit steady. He doesn't force things. Furkan will, if his first few threes drop, then he's not missing, and he'll end up with 30 points. If they don't drop, then he's going to be missing basically everything seemingly, and his defense is not that good. So then if his threes aren't hitting, what is he offering to this team? And I've said before, I'd rather Isaiah Joe, because I think Isaiah Joe, obviously, we should persist with him because he's younger and he's got, from what I've seen so far this season, he looks better from 3 and he looks better defensively. So this seems to be a no-brainer to be playing him. But Matisse Thybulle is another guy looking for those minutes off of Joe and off of Korkmaz. And if he can just get that 3-point shot nailed down to a respectable rate, 35% on, 3 or 4 attempts a game, then we've got a hugely important piece in this rotation, because he's one of the best defensive players and wing defenders in the league already. So it's just about getting the offensive game down. But Matisse was fantastic. Now on to the big one, and I don't mean Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons. We've all been annoyed with Ben Simmons, some more than others. Some have completely lost their minds with him and want to trade him. Want to trade him now, want to trade him for Beal, want to trade him for Levine. And I think this game, if any, shows that he can still offer this team something. And I knew he could still offer something to this team, but some people have given up quite quickly, which is a bit of a shame. But such is the nature of sports. It's a lot of recency bias, and the last emotion you felt towards someone is often the one you'll die on, if that makes sense. It's just emotions run high in any sport, and especially in basketball, and people have been very low on Ben Simmons recently. And this was the game which I hope can just be the catalyst for change. He had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, 7 of 10 from the field, and in the fourth quarter, he got 11 points and a steal, and he was clutch on both ends. He was finishing, with the offhand, euro stepping, going to the rim, going into the lane, taking contact if necessary, and locking up the Boston Celtics players on the other side. He was clutch on both ends. He was hugely important for this win. Look, we can talk about Embiid's points. We can talk about Harris's efficient 22 points. But Ben Simmons being so good on both ends helped us get over the line. And he was fantastic this evening. And I think my hope is that now he's seen that he can get points, he can, because obviously it was a confidence issue, as it so often is with, when players are in a bit of a rut, it's a confidence issue. And he came in and he got a couple buckets, a couple difficult ones that he's been normally missing of late. And now that he knows that he can make these and he can make it with relative ease if he just puts his mind to it, gets his head down and gets aggressive. This is I'm hoping he then realizes, basketball's simpler than he's making it out to be thus far. It's an easy game when you have the skill set that he has, when you got that size, when you got that speed. Because no one in this league, when I say can guard him, I mean can match him physically either. It's like, if you want someone to match his speed, more often than not, those people are 5, 6 inches smaller than him. So he's got the height advantage on them. If you want someone to match his height, well, those people are nowhere near as quick as him. So he's got the speed advantage on him. There aren't too many people in this league that can guard him if he just gets his head down and does what he did yesterday and gets aggressive, goes to the line, finishes with both hands, takes contact if necessary, and he was 7 of 10 from the field. So he had a fantastic game, easily the best game he's had this season. He willed us over the line. Everyone praised him, and rightly so. And I just hope we got the Detroit Pistons tonight. I have a feeling that we'll rest Embiid, and I completely get that because we got, like I said before, AD, LeBron, and the Lakers all coming into town, resting for this Detroit game because we should be beating the Pistons. Look, I know we're a bit iffy without Joel, but we should still be beating the Pistons, and I'm happy to rest Joel for when the Lakers do come to town. So that means Ben Simmons has 2 games where he's the guy. Look, we could talk about Tobias Harris and his points output, but Ben Simmons is the second best player on this team. And he needs to be the guy in Detroit tonight. And indeed, when we play him again in a couple of days' time. Tobias Harris, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 10 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3. What has happened to the Tobias Harris that we all knew and hated? This is Clippers Tobias, and he just makes the game simple. He's taking the shots in the flow of the offense. He's getting to his spots, in that sort of low postish mid-range area. And he's taking Javonte Green to town. He had this amazing fadeaway on Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, we know, is a great defender. Fade away from the mid-range, and somehow he just drops it, even though the defense was, of course, sound as you would so often expect from Marcus Smart. Tobias just dropped it nonetheless. He had a good hit a corner three, which no sixer hits that, let alone Tobias Harris. It was a great corner three. It was, Kelly contested somewhat. This is just a new player, and Doc Rivers deserves all the credit in the world for bringing it out. And you got to say, he could well be an all-star. Look, I need to properly sit down and have a think about the power forwards in this league. Domantas Sabonis, although he probably is a center, but he is playing power forward. KD, I guess, he plays the 4/3, so it depends on what positions you have as people. But he's got every reason to be an all-star this season, and it's a testament to himself, but like I said, to that coaching staff, to Doc Rivers. I'm not sure who else there. I'm sure there's other people behind the scenes really helping us to get a new, improved Tobias Harris. But this is just fantastic, and it's got to the point where now we can relax when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are off the floors because Tobias Harris can lead a team. And we saw this towards the end of the third quarter. Towards the end of the first quarter, we normally have the bench unit in with maybe a sprinkling of a couple starters. And we struggled, and that's why we got outscored by 33-25 in that first quarter, because that bench unit at the end of the first was really struggling. And normally that same bench unit will be the one that ends the third. And so I was really wary that we could end this third really badly and let Boston have a lead going into the fourth if this bench unit doesn't step up. And boy, did they step up. And like I said, there's a bit of Tobias Harris here, but it was Shake Milton. He had a pretty poor first half by his standards, but he managed to get a couple more points. Tyrese Maxey managed to get a bit more joy in this game, albeit a very little amount. Dwight Howard was a menace on the board yet again, 12 rebounds from bench minutes. If he could just, I'm expecting him to play, a good 20, 25, 30 minutes this evening. He can easily just get, there's nothing stopping getting 20 rebounds, when he plays, starter minutes, because he's just such a menace on those boards. So, Furkan Korkmaz, like I did just say, I wasn't the biggest fan. We didn't have a bad game by any means. He's just returned from injury, and he didn't have a bad game at all. He hit a couple threes. Defensively wasn't brilliant, but it was nothing abnormal, and he didn't do anything too bad. So how can I complain? I can't really. And in that third quarter, we outscored the Celtics by 42 points to 28. And that was, in many respects, a turning point, a decisive moment in this whole game was, that bench unit. And that just goes to show, look, we could talk about those Embiid points, talk about those Ben Simmons clutch minutes. We talk about Tobias Harris's efficiency. But that bench unit really helped us get there. And this really, look, 5 people take the court at any one time, but 10 to 12 people really, every single one of them earned this victory for us. And I can't complain at all. Now, the flip side, people say, oh, there wasn't Jason Tatum. Kemba's still not quite back at it yet. But if you want to celebrate sweeping us and want to rub it in our face all the time and say, ha ha ha, we beat you 4-0 and you embarrassed yourselves and whatever else, well, you did that when we didn't have Ben Simmons. So when we sweep you at home and rub it in just a bit, and you say you don't have Tatum, tough. Let's be consistent on both of those. But yeah, that was last night's game. Another great win against the Celtics. Like I said earlier, you can't ever complain when you beat the Celtics. We go into Detroit this evening, hoping to continue on this form and get that momentum going into when we play the Lakers, which will be a fantastic, fantastic game, one which I can't wait for. Ben Simmons v LeBron, AD v Joel. There's so many matchups that you just can't wait to see. Hopefully, of course, the Sixers take advantage of both these matchups. But that's just going to be something you're not going to want to miss. Even if you're a Sixers fan, you definitely don't want to miss it. If you're an NBA fan, you don't want to miss it. Everyone will be watching, and we need to show what we can do. Because on national TV, sometimes we haven't really helped ourselves. Like last night's game was on national TV. It was one of the games. I forgot which one it was. Embiid didn't have a good game. Everyone lamented him. This is after we made the MVP claims. It was the Nets game. So this is another time to, reestablish yourself and make people realize, look, we're not just getting a good run of form. We're here to stay. We want that number 1 seed. We want to compete. We want to get to those Eastern Conference finals. We want to get to the NBA finals. We aren't just, on a lucky bit of form. We're not just going to let the Bucks or the Nets or whoever you think are better than us overtake us. We're legit. And we've got to start proving ourselves on the big stages, which we did yesterday. Let's do it against the Lakers, but let's just take care of the Detroit Pistons over these next 2 games. Thanks very much, guys. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.